So it is October 2023, which means I'm turning 33 years old this much. Now in the past, I would have made a video on my experience over the last 13 years of working out and all of that jazz, but instead I'm just going to share the next 3 months of how I'm going to work out and try and hit my Grecian body stats that I've put together for myself. And I did run a poll on this channel to see what you guys wanted me to use for that challenge. However, I am going to override it after finding out some pretty cool information on how the Speediance has performed for the past 6 or so months in terms of my strength gains during that time. But when we get to January 2024, I do plan on going back to resistance bands, as many of you want that on the channel. However, after seeing the changes I had with the Speediance, I had to run another 3-month test to see what I can get out of it. And of course, as a quick disclaimer, I did receive the Speediance products for free as a review to test that I have on this channel. And if after this video you want to save $120 off your order, feel free to use code GamerBody at checkout to save that money. But with that, I want to share my stats and how they changed from my first assessment back in April 2023 to October 1st as of reshooting the stats with the Speediance Gym Monster. So looking at the Speediance initial assessment I took back in April 2023, I'm going to go over those stats and what I got on October 1st so you can see the difference in my strength gains over that time. Note, all of this is in American pounds if you were wondering. So the first one on the list is the chest, and I started with a resistance I could withstand of 171 pounds in that assessment, and then as of October 1st it went up to 173. So it went up 3 pounds of resistance, which is a 1.75% improvement. Of all of them, this is the one that changed the least. I still feel like I struggle a bit with my chest strength overall compared to many of my pulling exercises. So with that, this is one I want to improve a lot going into my final testing in January, hopefully maxing out at 220, but I don't think we'll get quite there, but maybe closer to 180. Next up on the list, we have shoulders, and I started off back in April with a 90.3 pounds of resistance and went up to 106 pounds in my October test. That is an improvement of 15.7 pounds or 17.39%. Now this is a pretty good improvement for me. I still would like to get this higher as I really want my shoulders to improve in strength overall. Still feel like one of my weaker muscles, which could be affecting my chest pressing as well. So I want to see if I can get that more towards the 120 mark. Probably more around 110, but we'll try for 120 as a goal. Next up we have the back. And for my April test, I had a back strength of 159.6 pounds and was able to increase it to 177 in the most recent test, which is actually now better than my chest. So I went from worse than my chest to better than my chest in terms of resistance I can pull. So that's a 17.4 pound change or a 10.9% improvement. Now I'm pretty happy with this one as again it overtook my chest. Now I used to be very rounded shoulders, so I used to actually have a lot of tightness in my chest pulling my shoulders forward, but now I've been able to strengthen my chest, which actually naturally brings the shoulders back quite a bit, and that's been awesome. So I'm very glad that this improved and has actually gone over my chest in terms of resistance I can pull with the device. Next up, we have the hips. So any kind of hip movement, and for my April test, I actually maxed this one out. So it's just a deadlift you're doing with a machine. And for me, 220 pounds isn't that hard for a deadlift. So I maxed it in April and I maxed it once again in October. So I have a 0% change. So really nothing changed there. This is where I need the machine to actually go a bit higher. But do know in my actual workouts, doing like 180 pounds to 200 pounds for 10 reps at a 6-ish second cadence, maybe more like a 4 to 6 second cadence, is actually very, very difficult to reach all 10 reps. So it's not like it's hindering me too much, but do know in the assessment I can max it pretty easily. So of course with that, we're gonna go to my biggest improvement, which is just the legs. Really just squats is all you do in the legs assessment. Before this, back in April, I only got 140.6 pounds. I really think this was a skill-based issue because I didn't have any equipment before where I could really do this movement. Which I can now with the Gym Monster. So now I can actually do a real squat where I couldn't really do it before. I used dumbbells or something else, or like a front squat with bands. But now I've improved that skill, so I was able to go from that 140.6 pounds to 220 pounds, so I maxed it out, which is a 79.4 pound increase, or 56.47% increase. So again, that skill component was probably a huge reason why I'm now able to push so much more resistance in that assessment. And by the way, it actually felt very easy, even easier than the deadlifts to do now that I can do the skill properly. So I'm definitely going to max it next time, but do know that this is where I'd like a 300, 400 pound device like the Vitruvian, because that exercise would be much better if it went a bit heavier. All right, and the last one in the assessment is for your arms. This is only bicep curls, they don't do any tricep exercises, but for the bicep assessment, I guess, I started with 57 pounds on the cables and ended up with 68 pounds in October, with an 11 pound change and an improvement of 19.3%, so not too shabby there either. So I went and scoured the internet for the Grecian body stat and how I can build it into a plan that'll fit for me and my goals. Now, I don't expect I'll get all the way to these goals. I'll probably be actually a bit far from some of them, but I can always do my best and see how close, based on my genetics, I can get to them now with trying it out with the Speediance. So I'm going to put this in the free program. This is the male version. So just know if you're female, you might need to manipulate some numbers and look online for changes, but do know I made this for males if they like to try out themselves and put in their values to build their own. But here is mine and what I'm going to look forward to getting to. All right, so right off the bat in this list, I have height, wrist, and knee, and they're all measurements, because when you put these 3 measurements in, it'll actually tell you what you need to get for the rest. So you'll see like I'm 5'11" or 71 inches tall, I have a 7-inch wrist, and a knee circumference of 15.5 inches. So once I fill those in, it filled in the rest of my goals. And I'm not gonna name all of them off, I'm actually gonna go over what I personally have and what I'm gonna focus on mostly to try and get a more well-rounded physique. And some of them, if you watch my old videos, are the same as before. So filling out the numbers, you'll see that for like my arms, I'm around closest to 16 inches, getting close to there. My calves also getting around the 16 inches. So those are actually pretty even, which is good. I want them nice and balanced. For the chest, that's a little low, but not too bad. Maybe get like another ½ inch or so in 3 months. And then forearms are actually like almost right on the dot. The right one just needs to go up a little bit, but it's pretty close. The left one's actually over what the goal says, so that's kind of cool. Hips could need to come down a little bit according to this list. Maybe my butt's just too big, I don't know. And then my neck, of course, is the one that stands out the most. 12.51% off goal. That is pretty far. So I'm going to work on that one in terms of getting it to my end goal. So I will be probably adding in things like neck flexions and stuff just at the end of my personal workout. Again, I'm going to be doing the one on the site, but I'll probably just add in something like some neck flexion extension in order to help grow that. And then when we move on, shoulders are pretty close. Again, only 0.9% off from goal. And then let's see, the thighs, close to 10% off. Again, the numbers, don't look at them, they're actually wrong. The coloring, is wrong on the thing. Don't even bother with it. And then lastly, the waist needs to go down about 2 inches to match the goals I'm looking for. So with that, I've covered that for the next 3 months from October to January 2024. I'm going to be using the Speediance Gym Monster with my slightly updated workout program that I have and I put into the device. It's also free on GamerBody.com. And with that, I'm going to track it in this worksheet to try and get my Greek body stats as close as I can while improving some of my lifts overall and seeing how many I can max out by the end of the year. So with that, I've come up with 3 things I think are the most important things I need to improve to hit that target. You might need to as well, but these are things that I personally have either been working on or need to get better at for myself in order to see it happen. The first one and the most important one for me is going to be sleep. I do have a Fitbit Versa 4 right now, and when I look at these stats, it's not too good. My average sleep per week during the work week, I work Monday through Fridays, is like between 5 and 6 hours, usually around the 5.5-ish mark. So that's really low. I need to get closer to the 8. Sleep is a huge part of muscle growth and just overall health and improving your metabolism, all that stuff, reducing stress, all that in life. So I need to improve that really to see any kind of better results than I'm seeing now. So that is going to be a big focus on it. It's going to cut into my gaming time, but I want to see the results as we get to the end of the year. Next is to get more protein. This is going to be hard going into Thanksgiving, Christmas, with all those delicious foods on the table that I want to eat. So, and my birthday, by the way, that's like coming up pretty soon. That is going to be a big problem in terms of me staying on my protein goal. Again, it's only like 3 days. Hopefully it doesn't like extend for really long times in those holiday seasons and even my birthday. But do know, I'm going to focus on trying to get more protein. My goal is 180 grams per day. For me, that's been very hard, even with protein shakes and things like that. It's still hard for me to get in that because I eat so many other things in my day-to-day life. But I'm going to try and improve it. Many of you probably need to as well. But again, I don't want to have just like chicken breast and rice every single day. So I need to figure out some variety while also getting in enough protein for the muscle building to occur. And lastly, I'm just going to keep focusing on improving and progressing my lifts. My goal is to try and get chest as close to 220 as I possibly can and just max out all the items on the device as much as possible. I do train to momentary muscular failure and a little bit beyond with this machine, as I can set the spotter mode to actually reduce the resistance so that I can finish out each set for the full number of reps. I usually set it for 10 reps per set and do 2 to 3 of them. So the machine will reduce the resistance once I can't draw the cable anymore. So that is something I kind of go beyond failure, if you will, for that. In order to make sure I'm just generating enough tension on the muscle to get the stimulus to grow at rest. So that's it. That is my target going into 2024. So I have the next 3 months to see how close I can get. Again, that long a period of time really isn't that much to see a lot of results, especially for me, someone who's been working out for the last 13-ish years. I'm probably not going to see drastic results, but who knows? I saw some pretty big ones in 6 months with Speediance just on strength improvements alone on some of the exercises, as I can actually push them and do proper form with them. So we will see what happens in time. Again, I hope to get closer to some of these goals, but let's take a look and see how it goes in the end. And I'll tell you my experience when we get into January 2024.